showers scattered throughout the area. That never hurt football. We all know that. Let's go down to the third member of our crew standing by on the sideline, Christina Pink.
Hey, thanks, Ron. Well, Saints want to play well on the field, but they got to get all these off-the-field issues behind them. All the players allegedly involved in that bounty scandal will meet with Roger Goodell this week, but Saints linebacker Jonathan Vilma will meet with the commissioner for some FaceTime one-on-one tomorrow. I got to speak with Vilma pregame. He said, Christina, you know what? Everybody has been asking me what is going to happen, but I just don't know what to expect. Back up to you, Ron.
All right, Christina, announced 2 weeks ago that the 4 Saints players involved in the NFL bounty scandal had their suspensions overturned by a CBA appeals panel. And as Christina just mentioned, those players will fly to New York next week to have further discussions with Commissioner Roger Goodell. Meanwhile, the Saints are looking for their first win of the season, as are the Carolina Panthers. That's Justin Medlock. He will kick it away for the Carolina Panthers. Back deep, Darren Sproles, the ever-dangerous return man. We are underway here in Carolina. That's a good kick. Just at the end line, and even Darren Sproles says, I can't bring that one out. He likes to take them back from 9 yards deep.
Yes, he does. And anytime a dome team comes onto grass, particularly when it's raining, shoes are always an issue. You'll see these guys changing their cleats throughout the game, trying to get the right footing for the surface.
No issue for this man right here. He's beaten Carolina 5 straight, 44 consecutive games with a touchdown pass, chasing the all-time great Johnny Unitas at 47 consecutive games with that touchdown pass. They'll start it off with a handoff straight ahead. That's Pierre Thomas, maybe 2.
And this is one of those things, talking to the coaches, that they felt like they had to get back to. Didn't run the ball quite enough last week, and certainly with that backfield that they have in the offensive line, this is something that they've been able to establish early in games.
Make it a 2nd and 8. Sproles will line up, flanking Breeze in the backfield. Spread formation. They're going to chunk it. Screen, nice looking play. He's got some blockers out in front. Ooh, he took a hit. That was Beeson. He'll be about 3 yards shy.
You take a look at their perimeter guys, and Jimmy Graham, obviously, with the 99 catches, is somebody that they're going to have to account for, either through double coverage or disrupting him on the line of scrimmage. But one of the most potent groups in all football.
An offense last year that averaged 34 points a game. This is a 3rd and 3. Clean pocket, there's a throw to turn in, turn out, a first and then some for Darren Sproles. Sproles out to the 45-yard line.
They'd like to use Sproles as basically as a wide receiver. He comes inside matched up with a nice pivot route, spins and comes right back out. It's hard to get a defensive back or a safety linebacker type player on a guy like Darren Sproles, who has wide receiver abilities.
Getting the ball to Sproles early. Saints will be without Devery Henderson, still suffering from the effects of a concussion. That's Ingram. Ingram hit hard. Chris Gamble comes up. That's a pickup of 4. The Carolina Panther defense, they gave up over 100 yards rushing, 95 of it to a rookie last week down in Tampa Bay.
But they like Dwan and Ron Edwards inside, their ability to help them versus the run and get a nice push for their pass rushers. And of course the remake with the linebackers, expecting Luke Kuechly to really step up from his rookie seat, from being his first year in the league, and really be a contributor.
This is a 2nd and 6. They bring pressure from the outside in the safety spot, and there's a hit on Sproles. Thomas Davis. Davis holds the game to 3. You saw Munnerlyn coming off the corner there from that corner spot on the blitz.
We have Darren lined up as a wide receiver in motion. He runs a little sit down. It's really the same route that he ran versus man-to-man, and he becomes more or less a check down than for the quarterback in zone. Either way, he's got a great chance of getting that ball and doing something when he gets it in his hand.
Hey, heavy with me.
Third and 3 throw. Sproles has it. Sproles is down the sideline, taken down inside the Panthers' 25-yard line. Beeson tried to stay with him. He couldn't do it. Nakamura cleaned up the tackle, but that's a pickup of 25 big ones.
And really, Darren Sproles has taken up the slack for Henderson being out. And the matchup is really incredible because now you move him out there as a back and there's a linebacker and or safety trying to cover him. And that truly is a mismatch.
Really solid early, 4 for 4. Panthers late getting lined up. A man runs on the field late, then falls right into the tackle. Thomas Keezer comes in late. Mark Ingram with the run.
Well, that's a real problem, Darren Sproles, and what they're doing with him. Moving him inside and then putting him outside, handing him the ball, using him as a wide receiver.
Back on the ball quick. Ingram is still going. They thought they had him tackled. Look at Ingram push the pile. An extra 10 yards all the way down to the 5-yard line. And a first down. A pickup of 12.
Well, this is what gets you about this offense. Just when they're playing kind of this tricky stuff where you get the backline swings, lining them up outside, and all of a sudden they bloody your nose and come right down the pipe on you.
Antoine Applewhite couldn't hold on. First and goal. Looking at Colston. Checks it down to Sproles. Sproles will get it down to about the 3. Godfrey on the tackle, along with Norman.
But Drew's gotten such an incredible rhythm here in this drive. He was so anxious to get back out on the field and get in the mix of things and just play quarterback without all the distractions. And he's such an accurate passer against this man-to-man. He puts the ball the only location he really can.
All 5 passes thus far have gone to Sproles. Second and goal. Ingram looking for goal line. Can't get it. Nice stuff there, right inside. That's James Anderson, the Mike backer, along with Norman. Third and goal.
But you got to feel like Jimmy Graham is going to come up big here. They're going to have to double him, but that's still quite a matchup.
Posting up top. Graham down in the slot on the hash mark. Graham, that was easy. Touchdown, Saints. And the dunk.
Just a little option route, Ron, where he runs down, reads where the safety and linebacker are, and turns into the open zone. A little bit looser with the safety. He's really got to be, they've got to disrupt him somehow. If he gets a free release down here, you can see him stretched out there, turns around in the end zone. Boy, you're just going to have to be tighter on him down here or mug him on the line of scrimmage. He's just, the connection between the two of them is just too dynamic.
Second touchdown of the year for Graham. He had 6 catches as the extra point goes through. Over 1,300 yards receiving for Graham. Why not go back to him at money time? 11 plays, 80 yards. That was vintage Drew Brees. 7-0 Saints. Boy, what a drive it was. 80-yard drive. 79 yards of that drive, Coach, were due to the running backs in some fashion, where they handed it off or threw it to him. Sproles, of course, got involved early.
Well, that's what drives you nuts now, because you have a great tight end and receiver, and now what do you do about those guys? You know, you've got to stop the bleeding here somehow.
Taken out of the end zone there by Joe Adams. Adams gets out to the 20. Hit by Martez Wilson. Cam Newton, he'll have to work his magic, down 7.
This game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go.
Well, I tell you, the thing that concerns you about Drew Brees in that last drive, he's 6 for 6, is how they did it and how fast they did it with all the formationing. Sean McDermott's got to run to catch up. That gets you on your heels, boy.
Sean McDermott, the Carolina Panthers defensive coordinator, in a hole early. Pump, looking deep. Underthrown, but LaFell has it. Brandon LaFell, and the Panthers answer. First play, ball's out past the 50-yard line. That's 27 yards.
Now, this is a page right out of the Saints book. Did a great job of moving his head. The 4 verticals. He pumped inside and gets the ball right back out to LaFell here. This is something the Saints are famous for, and And, of course, he did a great job with this in terms of his eyes in the helmet and moving the safeties inside.
Dropped it just over the top of Malcolm Jenkins. Williams with a nice run on first down.
Well, they're answering, aren't they, Ron?
Williams picking up after a -1 yard performance rushing last week against Tampa Bay. That one good for 8.
Here they're going a little up-tempo here themselves. Shoot. Abandon the hump and right to the line.
Go right back to Williams, trying to plug through for the first. I believe he's got it. Let's check the spot. Yes, that looks clear to me.
I think they may have been an unbalanced line there. That's why they came up so quickly. I think the tackle may have been over there, but you do that, and then they have alignment issues, and then you hit them quickly. I love the way they're coming out here. I really do. Cam asking him to throw the ball down the field on the very first down like that, getting him into the game. I love that.
Plenty of time for Newton. Holding it way too long, though. And he'll take the sack. A guy you talked about all week, Coach, that's been playing very well, Cameron Jordan, along with Cedric Ellis.
Well, Cameron Jordan did such a good job last week, and he's really starting to show up. And, of course, the staff there is really excited about his ability to squeeze the pocket and get around and recover like he did there. But that ball should have been long gone. There's that clock that's inside you as a quarterback. He did this last week a little bit. These are the things he's just going to have to grow out of. He's got to get rid of that.
That's a loss of 9. Jonathan Stewart checks in for the first time this year. Did not play last week. And boy, he meets a host of black jerseys. Curtis Lofton, the middleman inside. Casillas was there first. A loss of 2.
Well, Ryan, when you look at the linebackers losing Vilma like they did, you got Curtis Lofton and David Hawthorne. Those are 2 pretty good replacements in that group.
This defense, led by Steve Spagnuolo, you know the name, last 3 years as head coach with the St. Louis Rams. Earned his name up there with the New York Giants, obstructing their defense, taking down the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Newton out of the pocket. Takes a hit. He's about 11 yards shy of the first down. Jonathan Casillas again on the tackle. That's a pickup of 9, but way short of the first. They'll have to punt it away.
The only thing you'd ask Cam on that situation where he took that sack is there's a check down or a crossing route. He's just going to have to get to sooner. I think, he's just too eager to make that big throw down the field. And I know he's aware of that, but really good quarterbacks are in their career. They're all like that. You want them like that. You'd rather back them off than try to get him to throw it. But he has to get off that stuff sooner.
The Northman punt will be fair caught at about the 7-yard line by Sproul. Graham on the board thanks to Breeze. High efficient offense. 7-0 game, Saints. The last drive by the Saints, it was very efficient. Breeze 6 for 6, 55 yards. The running backs touched the ball for 79 yards worth of it. It was capped off by that throw with Jimmy Graham for the touchdown.
Well, Ron, last week, Redskins played so much man-to-man, I think they probably suspect Carolina do the same thing. And the way to really kind of get them out of that, get them to zone for Drew, is get the running back out there in a mismatch. And, of course, that's what they were doing.
Chance to play the field position game now for Carolina's defense. Pierre Thomas takes it up the gut. Kuechly.
The mixing the backs around and not throwing the ball to the tight end or the wide receiver and then handing them the ball, this is very unsettling. It takes you out of all that man-to-man stuff, and you've got to be sounder now with your linebackers. You want to help out the run Sproul.
2nd and 8, bootleg, looking for a crosser. Intercepted, big play, touchdown, Carolina. Charles Godfrey with the pick 6, and that's what the Panthers needed.
You could see that coming. I'm very surprised Drew threw that. He pumped it once and looked like he was going to try and get him off him with his eyes, and then he made the throw. That surprises me.
The 10th career interception for Godfrey, the first career touchdown on an interception. Medlock puts the extra point through. We are tied at the 5:33 mark here in the first. We said this was going to be a good one. Two division rivals, both needing a win. We're locked up. In case you've just joined us, that man right there, Charles Godfrey, the fifth-year man out of Iowa, the third-round pick in 08, just picked off Drew Brees and took it for 6.
He just hung on to that thing just a little bit too long. I think he tried to get him off him with his eyes, and it just wasn't going to happen.
Sproul, 5 yards deep, drops the ball. He'll have to sit on it. Mistakes. Back to the interception.
And here you got Charles Godfrey on the end. Excuse me, Charles Johnson, and Godfrey's here in the middle, right? Now, as they take off on this bootleg, Johnson's going to come back up and really contain this, and then by being underneath here, he can't really get the ball in there. It ends up being double coverage. There's nowhere to go. He tried to get him off of him with his eyes. He tried to get Godfrey to move. He wouldn't move. They were disciplined in their drop.
Play action. The deep comeback. Lance Moore with the great catch. It looked as though that ball was going to be knocked away by Norman. But Moore filling in for the injured Devery Henderson, and that's 17 yards.
But you come back as a quarterback and you make that throw and you put it the only place that you could possibly put it. Well, that's confidence.
First and John 10 give to Mark Ingram, and Ingram stacked up. The first game break of the day out to Los Angeles. Here's Kurt Menefee.
All right, after the Eagles defense forced the Joe Flacco fumble, Deshaun McCoy takes advantage. His first touchdown of the year. Eagles on top in the first quarter of the Ravens. 7-0. Ron and Mike.
Right there, Kurt. Yeah, that's a tough one there. The Eagles and the Ravens. The Eagles starting off the season 1-0, trying to get another win, and he breaks through. That's Thomas, and Thomas is still rolling. Gamble finally takes him down along with Kuechly, but that's another first down and more chunks of yardage for the Saints, 23 yards.
With this offense, they can create so many leaks in the boat, so to speak. You know, you're downhill, you're throwing it out to the edge, you throw deep back.
Leaks in the boat, huh?
You know, you got 4. What do you do as a coordinator? You know, Sean McDermott, what do you do? You got fingers out trying to plug every leak. It's tough. I love how they're mixing this and moving around. This is just Sean Payton right out of his playbook.
Poor tackle there. Haruki Nakamura, brought in as a free agent from Baltimore, just slipped in the open field. Looking setback. That's Ingram. Ingram stacked up. Maybe 2. Coach, going back to the interception by Brees, we talked in the open about maybe, because of the loss of Sean Payton, maybe Drew Brees doing a little bit too much at times. Was that an example or not?
I'm not sure of that. I do think that what Carolina knows about Drew is he's going to try and work him with his eyes so much. And I felt like there maybe Drew thought that he could do that, get away with that, and didn't. And then really set thrown away, just made a bad play. But maybe it is. I really don't. It could be.
2nd and 7. Another first down. That's Jimmy Graham.
And then right away, you get yourself into a zone defensively, trying to change it up so you can fit the run. And here comes Jimmy, right? Right into that turn out there. And he sits down and has such a great feel for that, being a former basketball player. Kind of setting a pick kind of a deal. You just turn out and set yourself down the window there.
Here Thomas at the tail. Looking for the corner. It's there. Graham again wrestled out of bounds by Godfrey. Yeah, Jimmy, we hear you.
Somehow we got to disrupt his release here. He gets off fairly clean. He gets behind the linebacker and puts a safety in jeopardy with his leverage. somehow, some way, we got to disrupt him. Either as he's going through the route, ricocheting as he comes off the ball, or just not let him
He
out.
almost dropped him. Of course, they said they were going to jam him up at the line of scrimmage.
I think he tried to. He just, easier said than done sometimes.
First and goal give inside. Ingram down to about the 8-yard line. They'll call it a pickup of 2.
They're being very, very patient on first down with these runs. Even if it's just a 2-yard run, it's sending a message to that defense in terms of, look, you're not going to get into all this man-to-man, this fancy stuff, and we're coming downhill at you.
Don't forget about the run game and maybe
you're not
even
going to forget about the run. Whether or not they pop it,
Second and goal. Graham on the hash mark in the slot to the right. Pump fake that way. Back inside to Moore. Moore will not get in. Beeson is there.
Offside, 76 defense. Half the distance to the goal, replay second down.
That's Greg Hardy.
But I think when you look at this replay, with a guy like Jimmy, you're going to have to do something to disrupt that route. You can't let him run through those zones like that.
He's come off with the ball scot-free, right?
You can't. He's just too good. He's just too good a player.
This will make it a little easier for the Saints. Ball move halfway. Spotted at about the 4-yard line. The throw, and it's dropped. Moore would have walked in.
Drew came up here, and he's a director of all the protections. He saw the overload, and you saw Darren Sproles there in that set move across there to help him with the protection so that the offensive line can slide towards where he wants to sprint to.
Ninth play of the drive, third and goal. And Graham dropped it.
And I think he got that in. I was a little bit behind him, but that's just
not enough. He started to run before he looked.
He felt like he was going to get in, but
so they'll settle for the field goal.
You're really dealing with a 6'5" receiver inside with a guy like Jimmy.
Garrett Hartley missed all of last year with a hip injury. 22 yards out. He's clean. Another nice job by Breeze and the Saints. 10 plays, 76 yards. Can't get 6, but they get 3. And you want to know why a guy sets NFL records every year passing? Drew Brees, 9 of 12, 97 yards, almost 100 yards in the first quarter. How about that? Joe Adams is deep to receive the Thomas Morstead kick. Morstead, the punter, handles the kicking duties. Adams. Week comes up with the tackle here. Let's go down to the sidelines and Christina Pink.
Hey, thanks, Ron. Get this. A replacement official has been replaced. Brian Cipollo was supposed to be a side judge for today's game, but the NFL releasing a statement today saying he was replaced by Tim Keese. This is all because of a Facebook post. He posted on his Facebook page that he was a Saints fan, pictures of him tailgating at the Superdome, even a friend jokingly saying, hey, how about you throw some of those yellow flags our way today? Not going to happen today. Back up to you.
Tim Keese, number 58, steps in. Great report. We heard that on the Fox pregame show. The guys talked about that. Bill Glazer setting it up. And that's Newton. Newton with a run. Newton down the sideline. And pushed out of bounds around the 30. LaFell with a key block. 40 yards. And the crowd comes back alive here in Charlotte.
This is patience on the nice ride on Colbert. This ride right there holds a linebacker flow. He does it as he closes on the edge. He just keeps it. They float it out there, and his speed just overwhelmed the secondary.
Well, and if you don't think he can run, look at the way Roman Harper was trying to dig to catch up to him. Delayed draw. Williams with a nice spin move. Comes back inside. Good job of staying in your gap. Malcolm Jenkins.
But again, Panthers coming out mixing this up pretty good. You get Cam involved with a deep ball right away in the first play. First play here gets him involved with basically an option play and come back and continue to run the football. Holding that line of scrimmage, just can't let those guys, Will Smith and those guys, put their ears back and sneezing and wheezing and all that stuff trying to get to the quarterback.
Sneezing and wheezing. That's never good for the offensive line, is it?
Nope.
I don't mind the sneezing. Leave the wheezing. 2nd and 7. Quick throw to Tolbert. Tolbert getting in on the action. He'll be about 3 yards shy of the first. Loses his lid. And that is the end of the first quarter. A 3-point game here in Charlotte. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages. We start the second quarter here in Charlotte. Ron Pitts, Mike Martz, Christina Pink. We've got a 3-point game. You can see the quarterback comparison. What's not on that graphic is the 49 yards rushing by Cam Newton. Ball is down in their territory, in the Saints' territory, but now they got to see that turn into points.
In time of possessions, they've got to make the most of each one of these possessions.
Look for the quick throw. He'll run it again. That'll be a first and then some. Brought down and trips out of bounds after a pickup of 7. Tackle on the play by Jabari Greer, his first action of the year.
Yeah, this is a called run for the quarterback. They want him to, they block down and let him come right around the edge. The receivers, you can see they're locked up on their man-to-man guys and create that seam. I think you'd like to have him stay up inside, but nonetheless, it's a nice gain.
Silatolu with a nice block there. The quick throw outside. Boy, Steve Smith has been quiet all day here, just getting started. That's a pickup of about 3.
What I like is they're really centering Cam here. They're letting him run with the football, letting him be free with it, getting the ball down the field, right away with it, getting the safeties to stretch there, and putting the pressure on with Cam. Now this running game with these backs should really become much stronger.
2nd down and 7. The give to Williams, he's got a big hole. And Williams for a first down inside the 15-yard line.
And that's what I mean, Ron, right there. Here you ride that back and read the end. You got Cam had come out and hurt him right now with 2 runs already. Now he shows the ball to the back. Is he going to pull it or is he going to keep it? He rides it. They don't want him running with the ball. So there's a nice gash there. They don't squeeze it off. And if you're going to be a man-to-man coverage, which I believe they were there, that's extra difficult because you don't have the help of those backside backers.
11 yards on the play for last year's leading rusher as he takes a breather. Another big hole. They've got their combo back in the mix now, Coach. That's Jonathan Stewart, who was out last week and really a lot of training camp with a bad ankle. He picks up 8 as they get after it a little bit after the whistle.
And he is just so quick off the ball. He gets up into the line of scrimmage so quickly on the defense.
He just got back up to the line of scrimmage talking about Cam Newton to run another play. Back to Stewart. Stewart stacked up. Ball is loose, but I did hear a whistle. Stewart awarded a 5-year, $36.5 million contract extension. Didn't play in last week. In talking to head coach Ron Rivera, he said that was key. We needed to have that tandem in the game.
Well, no question. You look at how effective they are with Cam, in the backfield. And what he does so well is that zone read is he cuts things back. He has that knack for setting linebackers, showing one side, getting them to move, and then running to the backside.
Lucy! Lucy!
3rd and 2. Newton out of the pocket. Makes a cut, goes head on. The ball is loose. And looks to be recovered by Carolina. And you can see the official saying down by contact. The spot is important, though.
This is what you like when you He pulls this ball. He's decisive. He takes off. Looks downfield. Now tuck it and go. Don't fool around. There was no hesitation there. He had to get the sticks, and he got that done.
I believe
That's the Cam Newton you love.
Now the question was the ball on the way out. No, that clearly is down. And I said the key issue here is the spot. That's why it is oh so close. And that's fourth down. Decision time now for Ron Rivera and the Panthers.
Statistically, and I know this is going to sound weird, but Belichick was right. You get down here and you have inches, fourth and inches, the odds are in your favor at this point in the game to go for it. It really is. You're playing field position, unless it's the Saints with their offense.
Okay, now that's one part of it. Next part of it is, what do you run? As you look at Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Saints, he's trying to match personnel.
Well, with a quarterback that size, with as strong as he is, I would think there's a real chance that he's going to have the ball somehow.
Trying to get a shot of Chudzinski, offensive coordinator for the Panthers. The flip, ill-advised, that ball is free. And it doesn't matter, fourth down, it's going the other way anyways. Mike Tolbert tried to get the flip. The flip looked like it came out real soft. Bottom line, Saints will take over on downs. So in what was a crazy play, ends up in a turnover on downs. The Saints will take over possession, ball at the 8-yard line.
But it looks like Will Smith actually got the pushback here right on Amini, the guard right here. Now, what happens, the result of that is he can't attack that outside defender well enough. So it's not clean for him. And then of course, he just compounds it by trying to pitch it while he's in the grass. But that play failed just because of the great push there by Will Smith in the penetration.
That's Pierre Thomas for 4. James Anderson on the tackle. The 35th meeting between these two teams. The series tied at 17. The Saints have won the last 4 games. The last matchup in New Orleans, the season finale last year, they beat up on the Panthers, and the Panthers took exception to it. They thought the Saints were being disrespectful. They're looking for a little payback. There's a long throw outside. The receiver fell down. That was Moore on the cut.
Well, right there, we talked about shoes before the game. I can't tell you how important that is right there with receivers. If I'm that receiver, I'm going to go over the sideline and make sure I got the right size cleats on, because that should never happen.
Third and 6. If you look at third down conversions thus far today. Colston has been quiet thus far. He's up top. Going out to the corner, and Graham has it. Boy, it's good to be 6'6", working over Beeson.
Well, you run out, and Beeson can run. When you run out of your cut like this, the way he can like a receiver, without breaking stride, you're playing catch-up. And with his speed, it's so difficult to do. Got to disrupt him somehow.
He said he was looking forward to playing against John Beeson. That's, of course, Miami on Miami. Both guys from the U. Beeson, 6 foot even. Graham, 6'6". You saw the advantage and what it can do. Graham, he's just using that big body, the former Heisman Trophy winner. Getting down about a yard shy. And I told you, these two teams do not like each other. All week long in the papers here in Charlotte, they talked about the disrespect that they were given by the Saints in that season finale last year.
Well, anytime that happens to you, and I've been on the other side of that, that's smart. But they're just doing, the Saints are just doing what they do. And I know it hurts and all those things, and I've had that happen, but what are you going to do?
And Drew Brees talked about it last night in our meeting. He said there was none of that going on. We were just trying to stay sharp for the playoffs. Check down throw. That's Sproles, and Sproles is out to the 45-yard line.
This is so difficult on a defense. And the connection with Sproles on a check down frustrates you in the zone because those wide receivers coming in behind, you're getting deep to take those downfield throws, and then his speed acceleration, he's going to end up with the same yards anyway.
Quick throw, great catch, almost dropped there by Joseph Morgan. A pickup of 5. And we were talking to head coach Aaron Cromer, of course. Cromer is the second interim head coach. Joe Vitt given the 6-week suspension, along with Peyton the year suspension. But he said, you know, we've got to talk about accountability. Guys tried to do too much last week. He said the motto this week is do your job and be you. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Play your position.
Well put. Well played. Very short, succinct. Identify the problem, take care of it.
2nd and 5. There's another check down. That's Pierre Thomas, the flare route, and Pierre Thomas jumps through for a first down. So the Saints again methodically, as they can do so well, moving the football down the field. That's a pickup of 9.
Just when you think you got one of the issues taken care of, something pops up on the other side. Now he had that swing down below to the left, and he moved the defense and was able to dump it off back to the right side. He moved the defense to the side.
Ingram inside. They call it overreaction Monday. Of course, you lose one in this business and everybody wants to bury you. They weren't marching as of last week. You can see the rush yards, the turnovers, the conversions on 3rd down, and that was surprising because they're one of the top teams in the NFL last year and since 2006 in the conversion territory.
Hey, 3 outs is indicative of it. That's just not like them. But they are well-oiled today. Just like we said at the top of the show, you know, they scored 32 and they didn't play well. What's going to happen when they get it together? Yikes.
That's a look at Pete Carmichael, the offensive coordinator. So really between Carmichael and Drew Brees, who a lot of people have said is a coach on the field, they're working through it, getting it worked out.
Well, they both understand what Sean wants in this offense, and they know it so well. The philosophy, the theme of everything, they've just been able to carry it on.
3rd and 4, one running free up the sidelines, goes the other way with it and tipped away. Big number 90, that's Frank Alexander. Out to Los Angeles for a game break. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Well, Saints and Panthers fans may want to keep an eye on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. After their defense picked off Eli Manning, Josh Freeman hooked up with Vincent Jackson for a 29-yard score and a 10-6 lead at the Meadowlands. Ron and Mike.
All right, Kurt. We've got a 10-7 game, 7:13 to play. Come up short there on the first. This will be a long one, 53 yards out by Hartley. Ball's up. It's straight and plenty of leg for Garrett Hartley. So a guy that had hip surgery last year, missed the entire season, pounds it through and adds more to the showdown. Newton coming up next. Just a 13-7 game. Feels like one of those college wide open 44-43 games.
Well, both teams are playing so fast on offense. It's really incredible. You've got to, I feel like I brace it up. You're going to catch up, you know.
Hartley with a career-long 53-yarder puts the Saints up 13-7.
It's remarkable with all the offense if you're down just 6 points. Hey, great opportunity to go ahead here.
Joe Adams, he's got a head of steam. Picking his way, gets it out just past the 25-yard line. 13-7, a lot of throwing, a lot of catching, some big plays on defense. We'll be back. Ron Pitts, Mike Martz, Christina Pink back here in Charlotte. Look at the total yards discrepancy there. Carolina getting in the red zone but can't do anything with the ball.
Well, the other part of that is the time of possession. I think it's almost 6 minutes here, the difference, and that's where you can get yards when you get the ball.
Plenty of time. Finding a man late, that's LaFell. LaFell with the reception. He did step out of bounds. A pickup of 12. Well, this week, the battle for baseball's postseason continues to heat up as the NL wild card leading Braves take on the Phillies, a team trying to stay in the wild card hunt. Or the Dodgers try to keep their playoff hopes alive when they take on the NL Central leading Reds, or the Twins looking to play spoiler as they square off with the Tigers, who are chasing a playoff spot. Fox Saturday Baseball returns this week at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. Fake the inside handoff. This is Newton. Newton inside, works outside, but I believe we've got a hold. He gets it a yard shy of the first. Might be on Big Byron Bell, the tackle.
Yeah, unfortunately, he had him wrapped up pretty good. I watched that from the very beginning of it. Boy, he didn't have to do it, too. That's what... Now, Byron, calm down. Don't argue about it. Take your medicine, get out in the home.
77 offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Okay, here's Byron right here. As you see him, he's going to come out in space here and get on the defender and watch. He's going to, what we used to call lobster block.
Lobster, why do you call it that?
Those big claws are outside, and everybody in the stadium sees that.
That's not good.
So I used to give them those hand pads the same color of the opponent's
yeah, right.
Just trying to hide the hide those hands in there. You know?
Oh, that's back in the old Chuck Knox days out there with the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, I can't speak on it.
You can't speak on it.
I can't speak on it.
League rules. Can't talk about it. We can talk about this.
Unfortunately, this is another situation now. They're in long yardage on first down. They got to avoid these things.
First and long, fake the give. Nothing much there for Newton, and he loses the helmet. Mike, do you like the play calling here on Carolina's side?
Yes, I do. You know, what I like about this, Cam is very, very involved in the running game with these run reads. It puts so much pressure on the defense. It's hard to commit to your gaps when you don't know he's going to pull it out and pitch it or not. And, of course, as big as he is, he breaks so many tackles just like the backstop. I like the change-up. I'd like to see him start it and come back and throw it pretty quick in front and move the defense in the face.
His passing yards, not a lot. His rushing yards, 7 attempts for 62. That's been the story thus far.
And that's a good plan for them.
And it's incomplete, intended for LaFell, running step for step. Corey White, that's the rookie 5th-round pick out of Samford. And he comes up with a nice play.
Well, and that was his read. He has to get free on this thing. He's got to staircase it. He hangs in there. He's downfield with his initial read. There's his guy. He puts it out there in front. That's got to be a catch, guys. I mean, I'm sorry. That's got to be 3rd and 5 now. You can't miss those opportunities. That's all the receiver.
Yeah, Samford didn't even touch the ball there. Talking about Corey White. That was all on the front. Looking deep. It's got Smith. Smith comes up with the catch. Working over Patrick Robinson. 35 yards.
But let me show you why this is possible, Ron. This is all possible because of terrific protection by Tolbert. He comes across and picks him off, and Steve stays active with the route. It just took so long. Corey didn't really believe it. Terrific pickup by Tolbert.
Smith checks out. Amani Edwards checks in for him. This is Stewart running laterally. Now he can turn it up. Gets to the sideline. And they took the real estate from him.
And Ron, that's a dimension that he brings back to this offense. Being able to get the ball out on the edge without Cam carrying it. That speed and acceleration.
Pick up a 4 on the play. 2nd and 6 throw. The quick wide receiver screen. That's a first for LaFell. LaFell holds on to this one and moves the chains. For an update on the Eagles-Ravens out to Los Angeles, here's Kurt Menefee.
All right, Baltimore goes on top. Joe Flacco finding Jacoby Jones. Talk about separation. 21 yards on the touchdown. 14-7. Baltimore with the lead at Philly. Ron and Mike.
Oh, I wonder if I could do that dance. Mike used to do those kind of dances back in the day.
Oh, exactly. They call it the belly wiggles, what they used to call it. Big Ken, that ball's come out quickly. Decisive. He's getting into the rhythm of the game.
Play clock low. Double fake. Throwback screen. He's got some room. That's Stewart. Stewart looking for the goal line. He'll get it. Key blocks on the play by Smith and Gross, along with Khalil. 17 yards, and the Panthers have tied it up.
And it's all possible by Smith. Watch him here on this block. Steve Smith, as he releases, he kind of suckers him, gets back and stays right on him, and that's a hard block. Watch him here. He's holding it, holding it, holding it. Then he's going to get tough right there. Got a boy, Steve. Got a boy.
Medlock with the extra point. The first lead today for the Panthers. And just like that, we've got a tight one, 1-point game. A look at the scoring drive, and this is what the Panthers have talked about all week, the importance of getting the two-headed monster back into the backfield, Jonathan Stewart along with D'Angelo Williams.
Well, they certainly did that in a big way. They're running plays now off of that read by the quarterback in the back. They've got a whole complement of things, and that's the issue. You know, he's hurt him himself, and now you're starting to see all the gadgets off of it.
Sproles, boy, looked like he stepped out of bounds almost. Advised by Pierre Thomas, sit on it.
Take a look at this screen here. Now, watch the action here by the back. See if we can freeze it right there. Look at the action here. You get a commitment by Will Smith here. And then the other part of it is you have the safety coming up right back up inside there. His eyes are on the quarterback. They're all intent on the quarterback in the back that is not there anymore, and they don't see him out there, and it's just a very well-conceived play.
And, Coach, they got a hat on a hat, too, from those three guys we talked about.
That's what you love when receivers block like that, the unselfishness of it. You just love that.
Now the master will come back and try to answer. 8-man front. Panthers blitzing off the outside. Nakamura misses the sack. Breeze somehow flips it to Thomas. Thomas makes something out of what looked like a completely dead play, as did Breeze initially.
And I'm not sure, Ron, that there's ever been a quarterback when he sets that can make pass rushers miss like Drew can. He just has that feel and elusiveness to when he's in the pocket. You think you have him and he's gone. You saw it happen last week. Nickel came right off the corner, untouched, and he just sidestepped it.
A pickup of 4. Reloads, plenty of time, checks it down, intended for Thomas. Drew told us the other day that we actually got good practice working without our head coach. Remember last year during the Tampa Bay game early in the year when Sean Payton had his leg rolled up on, sustained a major injury, they had to go without him calling plays that day.
Well, I think it has helped them. There's no question about that. Otherwise, it would be very difficult here in the last few weeks without Sean. But they're somewhat prepared for it.
This is a difficult moment. 3rd and 6 in the noise. Pressure inside. Here comes pressure around the corner, and he throws it away. He's outside the pocket, and he got it past the line of scrimmage. The pressure to chase Antoine Applewhite. And that'll bring up 4th down.
What they're doing so well right now is they're getting up into his face, and Drew's not real tall. They're taking away those passing lanes where he can sidestep and get the ball. All of a sudden, all these white jerseys are coming sideways in. As a shorter quarterback, you've got to move in there to get yourself a nice passing lane. And as active as they are up front with these pressures and the movement of the defensive front, they've been able to take some of that vision for him away.
Morstead on for the first punt of the day for the Saints. This is Joe Adams. He has some room. Ooh. Boy, he got turned north and loses his helmet. Jerome Murphy. Well, tomorrow Fox presents a gripping new series critics call a mix of ER and 24. See why this isn't your regular medical drama. Dr. Grace Devlin is devoted to medicine but indebted to the mob. Don't miss the new series, The Mob Doctor, premiering tomorrow at 9, 8 Central on Fox. That's not the kind of doctor you want working on you when things are tight.
But Coach Chudzinski, I think, has done a remarkable job with his game plan. Moving that ball around, all the little options off that zone read, and getting Cam really involved. Just really done a nice job of play selection and really a game plan.
Rob Chudzinski coming out this week and being very open about the offense, saying, hey, we need less mistakes and a lot more effort. Faking the end around, no giving the end around to LaFell, and he's got room. Brandon LaFell with a cut inside Saints territory down to the 31-yard line. He put a shake on Curtis Lofton for 25 yards.
Boy, do we have a heavyweight fight here. Don't he? The offense, don't you love this? What a nice design here with the pump fake. You hand it to him coming around. The eyes of the defense are all over the place. They lose him. Makes him miss with a nice inside move there, and wow.
And I don't know if you saw it, Coach. Ryan Khalil came across the field there and just put a hit on Roman Harper. 2-minute warning. Carolina, they're rolling. Under the 2-minute warning, a 1-point game. The Saints started off on fire. Nice 80-play drive, 80-yard drive, excuse me. Graham with the touchdown. Cam Newton struggled early. Wasn't able to get much going, but they have picked it up here in the second quarter. Pressure inside and the throwdown. And by rule, you are allowed to do that if there's a man in the area on the screen inside. The complaint is about the late hit.
Well, and that was well done by Cam. Sometimes you just got an incomplete pass is a great thing, and that's an example. They didn't have the screen. He didn't force it in there, try and take the sack. And young quarterbacks, really good young quarterbacks, and he's excellent. You just got to try to get those bad plays out of him. And he doesn't have many, but he just whittled those things out of there, and he'll continue to really grow.
Team Hicks on the pressure. Boy, there's a miscommunication there intended for Olsen, the tight end. He went to the corner. Newton threw inside.
Well, I believe he was reading the safety, and I think that the safety was over the top of him, and he expected him to make it break back inside here. As you can see, they come off the ball here. I believe with the leverage on the corner where the location of safety was, he wanted him up in that seam.
One thing you picked up, not a lot of interceptions from these safeties last year.
Neither safety had an interception last year. To me as a coach, that's the first thing I'm looking at. I'm going to go after those safeties and make them prove that they can play the ball.
Let's see if they try that here, 3rd and 10. To the corner. That's LaFell. LaFell working on the rookie, Corey White. He got him. That's for 19 yards and a first.
Just when he beats you with your legs and pulling it and running it, he comes back and throws the ball as accurately and as well as anybody in the league. Terrific bounce, sets up, he's patient, gives him a good route. Shoot. That's execution on 3rd down. Converting 3rd and 10 is so big, especially in the red zone, gives you a chance.
Well, that's that old corner route.
They're 60% today on 3rd down.
Stewart in the backfield. All 3 timeouts remaining for Carolina. Stewart going forward, gets it down to about the 11-yard. No, check that. Getting it down to about the 6-yard line. And that's a look at Rob Chudzinski, the Panthers offensive coordinator, dialing up some nice stuff lately.
Very creative. I think he's brilliant. I think he's one of the tops and soon to be head coach eventually in this league, I'm sure, in his future. I think when you look at what he's come out here with, I've never seen this with them, all the little trinkets off that zone read, and then to come back and downhill and the down the field throws. And you talk about a nice game plan now, being able to execute and implement it.
2nd and 3. They can get a first, if not the touchdown. Chopped down quickly. Nice play there. Corey White, that's the rookie that just got burned on that corner route. Now he comes up with a little payback.
A lot of these types of throws, these quick throws, there's a run involved, and the number count out there is like one defender on a receiver, and so he'll just take the ball and then kick it out there. It's called a quick screen, but it's really tied into a run. If he had too many people inside to run the ball, he'll just take the ball and flip it out there like he did.
And I believe Newton is going to call timeout, let the clock roll down. Timeout called. I heard a whistle, and timeout is in. Let's
Carolina.
go out to Los Angeles, check in with Kurt Menifee to see what he's got coming up at the half.
All right, coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, we'll put the guys back to work as we get ready for highlights from a busy Week 2 in the NFL, including Michael Vick and the Eagles hosting Baltimore in a game that's featured a lot of scuffles. Plus, Ryan Tannehill gets his first NFL touchdown. You'll be surprised how it happens.
All right, Kurt, that's all coming up in just a few seconds. The Visa Halftime Report. The boys standing by in the Los Angeles studio. See Steve Spagnuolo, the Saints defensive coordinator, giving some last-second instructions.
Well, they have really isolated Brandon LaFell a number of times in this game. He has really showed up. You know, he had that drop there, but you know, a big third down, of course, the reverse, and he has really made some very outstanding plays for this offense.
Third and 2. This will be Cam. He's got the first. Can he get the touchdown? Going backwards, loses the helmet. Yep. Times.
Clock.
Well, they've stopped the clock. They've got a scuffle going on. That was Cameron Jordan.
We've got a little, they're mixing. He's got his helmet off. I don't know how he came out of there with this. He must have called timeout because the clock is stopped.
We didn't yet.
Oh, measurement.
They're going to measure. So somewhere in that scrum, Coach, Carolina called timeout.
And the helmet came off.
Okay, so Carolina down to one more timeout. Saints with all 3 left. We talked about the aggression in this game. Both teams not feeling a big love loss for each other.
Well, Carolina hasn't backed off a bit. You know, that offense of the Saints can be intimidating, and they've come back, and they've got knocked down to the mat here early, and they got right back up, and they went right back at him.
66 yards rushing today already for Cam Newton. That is a career high. But he's had the numbers before. They want a letter. They want the W, and a touchdown would be a giant step in that direction. Inside, Colbert, touchdown. The Coastal Carolina product comes back home and does the dirty work, so to speak. He puts it in for the score.
Once Cam's removed from that and he's in the backfield, they really kind of suspect some sort of edge play or some sort of a play. You know, when he's under the center, those guys will be really strong penetrators. Once he goes back into that shotgun, they're thinking pass.
Yeah.
And so they have a real nice job of logging this thing down and creating a nice little seam for the back. You can see it right here. They pull the guard and trap, and he went right back door of the trap. The trap being the left guard, kicks out the defensive lineman, and he actually runs back further behind the trap block, which happens a lot with traps. I think a trap in the red zone, I love that call. That was, as a coach, it's a play caller inside the 10-yard line.
Talked about that.
Well, because there's not a lot of twisting and moving by the defensive line, and you want them coming up the field so they penetrate and you can trap them and create that crease there. And I tell you, Rob did a nice job with that call there.
And Tolbert coming in as a free agent from San Diego after 4 years there. He follows Ron Rivera back east. As I said, the Coastal Carolina product, the Chanticleers, literally just right down the road. And he helps put his team up 21-13. And a look at the scoring drive. LaFell was big on that drive, even with the drop.
Yes.
Coming earlier,
Yes.
he turned out to be big on that drive.
Well, you can see, it looks like they're all playing faster to me as this game goes on, you know. They've got 250 yards on offense themselves.
Medlock dribbles this one. Clock will start right now as it's touched. That's Junior Gillette. The big lineman doesn't get much. Tolbert now scores, and then you got to turn around and run down on the kickoff. Boy, there's a late flag. A little more drama over there on the sideline.
Well, Mike Tolbert earlier on a kickoff just...
That's what's personal foul, necessary roughness, number 84 on the kicking team. 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
He had a block earlier at the kickoff that would be on anybody's
Correction, the
highlight.
number is 81.
There we go. 84 is inactive. That's Kealoha Polaris. Got a little frisky. So 6 seconds left. 3 timeouts for the Saints. Don't forget the Visa halftime report coming your way here in about 6 seconds. The boys standing by with all the scores, highlights, and action from around the NFL. So Drew and the Saints, they will sit on it, go in, regroup, down 21-13. That's the score here at the half. Coach,
This is the end of the
quickly,
second.
your thoughts on that first half?
Well, it was a half of two faces. You know, the Saints came out initially and dominated the clock, dominated possession, yards. They didn't get a lot of points, which is unusual. They get down there and get a field goal. But then what I love about this game is Carolina answered. And they've come back, and now the time of possession is up where it needs to be. They have been able to keep Drew Brees off the field with sustained drives. Those third down conversions on 3rd and 10, those long yardage conversions have absolutely saved the day for them. And just the throw by Cam, he looks a lot more comfortable. The reads are better. The ball's coming out quicker. He's just really into this game as it gets going more and more.
The Saints started off hot. The big drive, 80 yards. They were methodic. It looked like the same old Breeze, the same old Saints. And then Carolina just kept hanging in. A couple field goals at it, but they kept hanging in. Stewart finally got him going there. He scored, made it 14-13, and now this last drive, it feels like the Panthers put a stamp on at least the first half of the game.
Well, think about this. Think if on that fourth down that they'd either scored the touchdown or a field goal. You're looking at 24 or 28 points here, which, and you look at the Saints offense, it's not that they've done anything wrong. That's certainly not the case. It's just lately they have not been able to get Carolina off the field. And this has turned into more or less whoever scores last going to win this, unless Carolina can continue doing what they're doing.
Both teams all week long, Coach, talked about not being happy about the effort given the prior week. Carolina went down to Tampa Bay. They lost, didn't like the effort there on that side. For the New Orleans, they didn't like a lot of the effort. But looks as though Carolina fixed their part of it, and we'll see if the Saints can. Welcome back to Charlotte. The score 21-13 Panthers. That song you just heard was Let Yourself Go by Green Day, which you'll be able to download on iTunes. And speaking of which, follow your favorite NFL team all season long in the process. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Morstead puts it on the tee. We're set to go here in the second half. That is Joe Adams, the 4th round pick out of Arkansas, the special teams extraordinaire, the Johnny Rodgers Award winner for the nation's top special teams man. Let's see what he can get going. Nice kick, 9 yards deep. He'll sit on it, and they'll take it at the 20.
The biggest thing here for the Panthers now is don't lose that energy and that momentum. If they can come back out here and continue the flow of the game like they did the last few series before that half, they could absolutely take this game away. They really can. but they've got to continue to be patient with Cam and use him in all those different areas. He's getting the ball out nice and quick, wasn't taking unnecessary risks, running the ball well. Just a real well-designed spread of the offense.
And you talked about the safeties being attacked for the Saints. They've done a good job of that. Something he brought up all week long. And Williams had a nice first half. Tries the left side, but Curtis Lofton is there. A short gain on the opening play. They'll call it 3 officially. A look at the first half numbers.
254 yards. Now, that didn't look like that at that first quarter. If you'll remember, they were really behind yards and time of possession, and they caught fire here. And what they're doing right here, coming downhill, that 2-3 yard gain on first down is what they need to do. Establish a line of scrimmage and continue to do some of these other things on the perimeter.
The rollout, he's got the tight end, and that's a catch. That's Greg Olsen. Olsen has the first down. He was big for him last week. 6 catches for 56 yards, and that loss to Tampa Bay. Let's go down to Christina Pink.
Hey, thanks, Ron. Spoke to Aaron Cromer at halftime. He said he liked the Saints' first few drives, but he thought they got away from running the ball in the first half. Wants to establish the run here in the second half. Now, Ron Rivera told me that he likes the fact that the Panthers have been establishing the run, running Cam Newton, and he wants them to stick with that in the second half. But defensively, he doesn't like the fact that they're not getting enough stops on third down. He needs to get them off the field. Back up to you.
All right, Christina. Saints with 71 yards rushing to the Panthers, 138 yards rushing, so we can understand Cromer's point there. That's Stewart, a pickup of 1.
Well, the effect of these first down runs, and I would take a little bit of section. I do believe the Saints came out and made an effort on first down that first half to run the football. But I do understand what he's getting about in terms of 2nd and 7. Sometimes you'd like to get a draw or a trap in there and go back-to-back runs. But both teams are really spreading things around it very, very well.
2nd and 9. Take the option inside, up the sideline. That ball is underthrown and through the hands of Patrick Robinson. Boy, you'll think about that one until you actually get another one.
We did have Greg turn out on the numbers of Greg Olsen, sit on the numbers. There's nothing wrong with the choice. He had Steve Smith up the seam. That ball has got to have some air. He's got to lay it out there, and with Steve's speed, you got to let him go get that football. He just got a little cute with the throw, I think.
Robinson led the team in interceptions last year at 4. From a first-round pick out of Florida State. That time he can't find the handle. 3rd and 9. Newton in trouble. Throws it up, out, and out of bounds.
You know, that incomplete pass is as good as it gets. Sometimes those are the best plays you have. You know, that was going to be a disaster. A big sack, and he turns around and fumbles. And there's so many bad things happen with young quarterbacks when they panic, and he was able to get outside and get that ball out. That's a good play for him.
That was Junior Gillette with the pressure. The first 3 and out today for the Carolina Panthers, so they'll punt it away. Ball spotted at about the 36-yard line. This will be Brad Norton. Norton replaces Jason Baker. Norton, the 6th-round pick out of Wisconsin.
Momentum to open up the second half is so doggone important.
And a delay a game.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
What happens with this momentum, you come out and make, even if it's 4 first downs or 5 first downs, and you put the ball deep in their territory, if you don't get a score, it keeps you in rhythm offensively, and that's just so important to follow up from what they were doing first half. Now, they didn't get a first down, but they did self-destruct here just a tick with that errant throw by Cam.
And here's a guy that can get your momentum going real fast. This is Sproles. Sproles makes a cut. He almost got out of there. Great play in the open field by Colin Jones. 59 yards on the punt, 17 yards on the return. And here comes Drew Brees. So Drew Brees takes over for the first time this half at the 12:44 mark. 15 of 22, 143, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but it was a big one, Coach.
Yes, it was, unfortunately, and I think that was very uncharacteristic of Drew. I do believe he was trying to move that defender and made a risky throw there. Perhaps that's not the case, but it just kind of is what it looked like.
We're talking about the pick six thrown down by his own end zone to Charles Godfrey. Godfrey took it in for the touchdown. Sherrod Martin checks in for the injured Haruki Nakamura. He was injured on that special teams play. That's Ingram for a couple.
We take a look at some of these plays with the Saints and Drew Brees in the first half, and they've done such an outstanding job of getting into his face, either on the perimeter or up inside, and forcing him into some errant throws and some plays he just doesn't want to make. But you have to give credit to the Panthers as well for the type of pressure that they've been able to put on him.
Great job by our Fox Spear getting inside the helmet of Drew Brees. Talk about putting your foot in the ground. Sproles sticks it. He'll be about 2 yards shy.
You take a look at the sacks, the hits, and the hurries, the knockdowns. The one thing that happened to Drew Brees last week against the Redskins is he had some hurries there, and he did get knocked around a little bit. And I think they may have taken a look at that and done some of the same type of things defensively.
3rd and 2. Poston without a catch thus far today. He's right in the middle of the 3, down the bottom of your screen. There he is on the clear.
There you go. There you go. There's that pressure. And again, last week, the Redskins were able to pressure him and force him into some difficult throws, get him into a situation he's not comfortable with. And here you can see the edge coming free on the left side to get down around his legs just as he's going to release that football. And of course, it's incomplete. You get around his legs, up inside, squeeze him a little bit, make him move if you can try to get a passing lane. It's very difficult.
2 consecutive 3-and-outs for the Saints, and this one has a chance. Nope. And rolls into the end zone for a touchback. That's a 65-yard punt. Cam Newton will take over with a nice lead, 21-13 Panthers.
McDermott on the sideline, dialing up those blitzes, strong safety blitz on 1st down, and brought the ranch there on 3rd down, trying to confuse Drew Brees and the Saints, and doing a very good job of it, particularly on 3rd down.
You look on the other side, they're trying to figure out a plan of their own.
Lester.
Saints drop a safety real deep. On the outside, that's the third time today that thing has been wide open. Brandon LaFell working on Corey White, the rookie.
Let me tell you the effect of this zone read. You get people out of all that trinket defense stuff. You make them get back and play cover 3. The corners are one-on-one out there, and you have a chance to come out and just throw pitch and catch out to the outside like that.
Now, Coach, going back to your days with the greatest show on turf as a coordinator and a head coach down there in St. Louis, when you got a guy that you're beating up on, like they're beating up on Corey White a lot, you just keep going after him, don't you?
Well, as much as you can. It's like having blood in the water, you know. The fins are breaking around the surface all over it, you know. But you have to, you know, you've got to make him play. You got to make him prove that he can stop it. And if you can't, you just keep going there.
And they are trying to make White prove something. No gain there for Newton.
Well, and that's fine. You know, they're running the zone read here again, and you know, it's had some success with it. They've gone into halftime and made their changes, but eventually the chess game is going to be such that something else is going to happen off of that. Whether the give comes back to the back or a play action pass.
Steve Smith up top. Looks like they're creeping down the safety blitz. They bring it off the backside. Wide open for the lane is Stewart. Stewart a 1st down. He's down inside the 45-yard line. A key block there by the center, Ryan Khalil. A pickup of 16.
They brought a safety off the backside there, which means the front side will be soft. Okay, so right here it's very, very soft on the backside because you have the safety coming. We have too many guys on the backside, and they're short on the front side.
Williams around the corner. Boy, the running lanes are there. Williams, he keeps on a chugging out of bounds close to the 15-yard line. Taken out by Malcolm Jenkins, but another big run, 27 yards. And another key block there by Khalil.
You've got to watch the center here, Ryan Khalil, number 67. He gets around, walks the defender, and not only walks him, but stays with him all the way down the field. Boy, when you're an offensive line coach, the hair in the back of your neck stands up on something like that. You got to get excited about that.
Khalil is the one who took out the ad in the paper here at the beginning of the season, guaranteeing that the Panthers will go to the Super Bowl and win. Around the corner, upended, nice hit there on Williams. Coming up hard, Malcolm Jenkins, the converted cornerback, at safety now. He really came up.
Yes, he did. They had two guys commit to the outside, so that ball will come back inside next time. That's how it works. Well, let's get back to Khalil here for a second. He is the leader of that offensive group, and by saying that, I loved what he said, by the way. I loved what he said because, you know, in a football team like this that's not really sure of what they're capable of, when you get called out like that by a teammate, you got to have his back. And I loved it. I thought it was perfect.
And he hasn't just talked about it. He has done it today. We called his name several times. 2nd and 9 throw for reload. It wasn't there. Going back door. And there come the flags. Patrick Robinson is going to get called working on Steve Smith.
Looks like Steve's limping coming out of the game. He may have gotten stepped on here.
Oh, Steve can't get off the field. Grabbing that right leg.
Now that group up front,
Pass
that group up, that's about a 5-count pass. That's a 4.5 seconds.
Steve Smith is down. We'll check on him when we come back. Panthers knocking at the door again. Ball spotted at the 4-yard line. This is a 1st and goal for Carolina. Smith able to walk off the field. They're cutting his tape. We'll try to get a report on him later on.
Out here. Out here. Hey, 50.
Williams, easy. They just opened them up like a can of sardines.
Well, they just don't have an answer for it. You know, the last time when he pitched it out there, the safety and the linebacker are committed on the outside, and it's right back inside. So the next step would be to come back and run it inside like they did right there.
A far cry from last week's -1 yards rushing from Williams. As he tips the 50 mark, 8 rushes for 58 yards. Extra point is clean by Medlock. 21 unanswered points by the Carolina Panthers in this division rivalry. 28-13. Hey, have you heard about NFL Mobile? Call ** NFL to download NFL Mobile right now on your phone and get coverage of every single NFL team. 21 unanswered points. And it all started with Jonathan Stewart's 17-yard touchdown catch in the 2nd quarter. Tolbert got into it after a nice drive right before the half. And you just saw Williams again 3 yards out, but Coach, it's really come after well-constructed drives by the Panther offense.
Well, this zone read is really hurting their safeties. They're trying to fit it, and they're just not getting in proper position.
Saints need something big from this man, and he can give it to you. Sproles, a nice return out the 35-yard line. Williams keeping the Panthers healthy, 28-13.
Back here in Carolina, quick injury updates. Panthers receiver Steve Smith is headed back to the locker room. Officials say that he is cramped up, could be dehydration. The trainers were working on his lower right leg, but that's also the leg that he's been wearing a brace on since he was hurt in Tampa last week with the knee, but they don't believe it's too serious. Believe it's just cramps and dehydration. Back up to you.
All right, Christina, thank you very much. The rookie Nakamura, who was shaken up a series ago, back in the game at the safety spot for Carolina. 1st and 10 for Breeze, checks it down. Thomas looked as though he was going to be stopped just shy of the 1st, but able to get across and get a 1st down.
We just haven't called Marcus Colson's name yet. And I'm concerned here. We're into the third quarter here, and he's just not showing up. And that's one of their war daddies, so to speak, that he's been so effective for them. I'm just wondering when they're going to get him the ball.
Breeze tried to get it to him on an inside route. They had a miscommunication. A nice move there by Thomas. Put a spin move there on Josh Norman. And was able to move the chains again. So 2 runs, 2 very productive runs yardage-wise for the Saints.
Well, the tempo is really good with this. They're in and out of this hole. They're quick with the formations. And this is what hurts you defensively is trying to match up all the different looks you get out of the offense and trying to get all the runs with your safeties lined up properly.
Switch it up to Ingram, and Ingram is chopped down. Knifing in there hard was Josh Norman. No gain. Coach, you're talking about the lack of production by Colston.
Well, you got the Saints. They've got the receiver got 2 catches for 22 yards, and shoot, you look at the Panthers, 8 for 128. I know what the plan was to come in with Sproles and use him as a wide receiver, and he's got the catches, but sooner or later that ball needs to go outside.
Graham has been quiet lately as well. Throw outside, that's complete to Courtney Roby, the special teams ace, and Roby will be about a yard shy of the first.
And this offense, as you know, with over the years with Sean Payton and Drew Brees, and even without Sean now, it just no lead is safe. You know, you just can't feel like you got enough points.
First down, I believe it is for Mark Ingram.
Well, they're doing exactly what they said they want to do. They want to come back out and establish a run, and they've done a very good job of doing that. Which, of course, with these play actions, the bootlegs where he fakes the run and comes out on the perimeter, has been able to free up the receivers and potentially the backs.
Quick shot of Pete Carmichael there, quarterback coach the last 3 years. Been on the Saints staff since 2006. That's something that's helped this whole staff. A lot of continuity, a lot of guys have been here for a long time.
Oh, there's no question about that.
First and 10, looking for the throwback. I think a smart move by Breeze. He had pressure all in his face there. Ron Edwards, 12th-year man out of Texas A&M, was bearing down on it.
Well, you know, you'd like to get the screens off versus pressure. That's what you want it for. But they do recognize the screen starting to develop to the backside, and they do a very fine job of reading it.
See what Edwards did? He didn't take off at him. He kind of stood back and got big, as they say. Second and 10. Thomas has a lane, chugging the feet. Look at the pile go. Inside the 30, a pickup of 5.
Well, they've had some pressure issues. So what they've done is come back and tried to get themselves into these third and manageable situations and run the ball, do a little bit of screens and some bootlegs, etc., so that the pressure isn't always all Drew on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10.
Smith, that was a short cart ride. He's back. 8th play of the drive, 3rd and 5.
50 and 58.
Breeze in trouble, throws it. Greg Hardy is there, and there goes the flag. And Breeze gets up limping.
Well, they faked pressure. The backers got up in the gaps and got him to make a call, and they all got out of there. And then they still got to him from the edges.
That could be an intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding. Number 9 offense. Ball did not get to the line of scrimmage. Lost it down. 4th down. Penalty will be 10 yards from the previous spot.
But you can see the backers were up in the gap, and they're so concerned about that inside pressure that they've been getting throughout the game. And now they have, you can see Jimmy Graham, they took that choice away. Cancel that, put an X on him.
Lofton took a free one, but more importantly for Saints fans right now, they're concerned about the health of Drew Brees. You won't find a tougher quarterback in the NFL as Breeze tries to walk it off, but you can tell the way he went down on that one. That was very awkward.
Showing this inside pressure, taking it away, coming off the edges. This is a nice halftime changeup for these guys on defense. And then taking Jimmy out as he's trying to get into the route. They're getting after him pretty good.
I sent a message on that.
Yes, no question.
And you see Chase Daniel talking to Breeze, hand on the shoulder, saying, "Are you okay? Can you make it?" Now it looks as though the training staff is going to attend to him, so we'll keep up on that one. This one will be killed inside the 5-yard line. Excellent job by Courtney Roby hustling down. Pressure on Breeze. Carolina stepping up here in the third quarter. Drew Brees being taped up just a moment ago. He was sacked, and watch the way.
Well, right there on that left
yeah.
leg, you can kind of see what's happening with his body. The knee was down, the ankle, the toe was down, kind of in an awkward position. It could be an ankle or knee the way he landed.
A developing story, and we'll keep up on that one for sure. The last 3 possessions for the Saints, 3 punts. That was a nice drive, 8-play drive, but the sacks ruined it. Worst starting field position of the day for the Panthers. This is Stewart trying to get outside and can't quite get there. A pickup of 2, nice tackle there by Robinson. Won't forget this week, the battle for baseball's postseason continues to heat up as the NL wild card leading Braves take on the Phillies. The Dodgers will try to take on the Reds and stay alive. The Twins will try to play spoiler and take on the Tigers. That's all coming up this week, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on Fox.
3 yards off your own goal line, that's a big run.
That same side, you can hear the pads popping, just about the same result. A pickup of 3 that time for Stewart. Lofton on the tackle along with Jenkins.
There's Steve Smith's back in the game now. And they've got their fullback comes back inside, so you would expect some sort of the potential of anyway, maybe a read type of zone.
This is a 3rd and 4.
Ricky!
The swing throw to Tolbert, and Tolbert puts on a nice move and picks up the first down. Tolbert shaken up, very slow to get up. A missed tackle there by Jonathan Casillas and a pickup of 20 yards, but more importantly, a big first down.
Well, watch how quick Cam is here to key and diagnose what's going on with the defense. His first choice is gone. Those guys go right after that swing. And when you do that, you give the back the best opportunity to run after the catch. And then, of course, the location, all those things that go with that. But the big key there is that Cam is playing at a different tempo than we saw earlier in the game.
He set it down. Stewart cuts it up. He's got plus yards out across the 35-yard line. Out to L.A. Here's Patrick O'Neal in a game break.
All right, Ron, you guys are looking at a potential upset. How about this in New England? Arizona's Quentin Groves with the block of Zoltan Mesko out of bounds. Takes a funny bounce at the 2. Would lead to a Kevin Cobb to Andre Roberts touchdown pass. Late third, Arizona up on New England, 13-9. Ron and Mike.
Boy,
Holy
how about that? The Cardinals with a big win last week, not going back to New England.
So much for concerns about quarterback position.
Yeah.
Right? Who's going to play what?
The read option, there it is. Boy, the Saints all over it. Jonathan Casillas is there first. Ron Pitts, Mike Martz, Christina Pink. Winding down here in the third quarter, Drew Brees and the Saints got off to a great start. 80-yard drive, went right down the field and scored. But Carolina kept chugging away, kept it close. It's been 21 unanswered points here from the second quarter late until now for the Carolina Panthers. Drew Brees Got his ankle rolled up on in an awkward fashion, but he appears to be okay. The throw outside, nearly picked off. That one dangerous. Robinson almost had one.
But the big difference here is they've been able to convert on third downs and sustain these drives, and some of those third downs have been 10 yards or more, which is extremely impressive compared to what was happening last week. You know, they've got the ball off the goal line. If you get 2 first downs coming off the goal line like they did in this last series, you've done a good job of resetting field position. So they have put their defense in terrific shape. Their defense is getting the Saints off the field, and they are not. The Saints are not getting the Panthers off the field.
Sproles almost broke one the last time down. Ooh, got hit hard. Thomas Davis. There's a guy that comes in and plays linebacker for you. Then he runs down on special teams as well, making big plays, big hits like that one.
Well, his speed shows up in special teams. You know that when you have a guy at his speed, he's like a rocket. He's about 3 steps ahead of everybody else. He's very disruptive.
And we talk about the way this game started. It was all about the Saints that came right down the field, and it looked as though it was going to be elementary for them today, but Carolina just kept chugging. You've been talking all day long about that read option and how hard it is to defend.
Well, it's all the things that go along with it as well. You know, they've kept them off balance with these gadgets and some throws off of it. They've had some bad plays, but nonetheless, they've been very patient with it, and it's been very effective. And so far, the Saints, they've made their adjustments to stop Cam, but the other elements have been very effective.
That's Ingram. He got 2.
Well, they're staying, Ron, to their plan to come out and pound it a little bit here and grind it and try and get into those makeable third downs.
Quick throw, and hey, there he is. That's Marcus Colston, his first catch of the day, and it's good enough for a Saints first down.
I think part of their deal, too, to run the football is to keep Cam and that offense off the field, too, and get some of that time to get in scoring position. So, you know, I think both defenses and offense are kind of working in the same situation, really.
And what do you think? It looked as though Breeze dropped back and set pretty well on that foot and threw the ball.
Yes.
Didn't appear to be any after effects, lingering effects from that twisted ankle. That's Pierre Thomas. Kaiser on the tackle.
Well, they're getting back to some of the formation that they did earlier in the game. They bring that fake reverse around. It kind of opens up that end a little bit. So they're starting to move things and change things offensively with their running game, like they did early, you know, when they came out with Sproles, etc.
Pick up a 4. This will be the last play of the third quarter. Middle of the field, it's open. No, dropped. In and out of the hands of Joseph Morgan. And that is the end of the third quarter. The Panthers up 28-13. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. We start the fourth quarter. Rod Pitts, along with Mike Martz, Christina Pink. We've got a 3rd and 6 coming up here. The Carolina Panthers have 21 unanswered points at their back. The New Orleans Saints have driven down at least this far a couple times. The last time down, got on the other side of the 50 and the drive stalled.
Carolina has been very effective, bringing pressure and then coming out of that and dropping everybody but 2 or 3 linemen.
Pressure. Colston is wide open. The man slipped, and he can't stay in bounds, but he's got a huge conversion. Working on Josh Norman, and he lost Norman late. That's 29 yards.
Well, they showed pressure and got back out and did a real good job of matching up the receivers, but his original read over to the right, as you saw, fell down. Now, if we had a chance, I couldn't see who the linebacker was, but had he not left his feet, he might have got him before he threw the football.
Pierre Thomas stepped up nicely and picked up a blitzer, a nasty post corner route by Colston. Of course, we mean that in a good way. Very nicely done. Back to the ground game. That's Ingram. He got 3.
What's different for me right now with this Saints offense that I'm used to seeing is big plays on first down. And by design right now, they're not doing that, and I understand that, but normally when you play the Saints, you know, first down, you can get a 40 or 50-yard chunk.
Two tight end look for the Saints. Screen. Still going, and a great effort and a first down by Pierre Thomas. 8 yards. He picked his way through that one nicely.
You take a look at Sean McDermott here. He's calling out screen. Right? He sees it coming. See the hand? Screen, 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 screen. That's what screen means. A hand up and down. That means a screen. He just can't hear him out there.
That doesn't mean you can't see me. Unlike John Cena, that means screen. And I don't think the Panthers can see this man. That's Thomas, and Thomas almost got in. Down to the 1 yard line, and another Saints first down.
You got to feel like they're rallying behind Drew and his injury just a little bit. You know, hey, listen, we're going to take care of it. Hand the ball off. Listen, we're going to road grader this thing. Missed tackles. You got to wrap him up. Get off blocks and wrap him up.
And look at this, Coach. The Panthers are late getting lined up, even getting on the field. Oh, that's trouble. Up and over. Easy touchdown by Mark Ingram. So they caught the Panthers in a substitution, and Ingram gets his first touchdown of the year, and Drew Brees, of course, very alertly gets him up to the line, and they get it snapped.
What they're doing personnel-wise, they change their groupings on every snap, and you have to change with them defensively, and they're so good about getting the ball and getting the ball snapped before you get your reads. And by reads, what I'm talking about is recognizing personnel formation.
And that ends 21 unanswered by the Panthers. An 8-point game in this division rival.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Sprint, by Pizza Hut, make it great, and by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go.
A look at the scoring drive, 9 plays, 68 yards. Ingram, he had the easy part, but the key play there really on third down, Colston with the big 29-yard pass. The slip down by the DB, ball was right on the money.
What a heads-up play by Drew. That's not where he wanted to go with the ball. The receiver he's trying to get the ball to fell down.
Adams won't get a shot at this one. That'll come out to the 20-yard line. Trying to match personnel and formations. They got caught. 8-point game. .12:53 to play, 28-20 Carolina. The Saints now with a 5 defensive back package in the game.
Well, they have to do this, I think, because of the zone reads that they've been running, and the fits or the run support is what fits mean by the secondary.
Fake the read, plenty of time. Going deep and all alone is Steve Smith. Now does he have the wheels? Caught, but a big gain. Corey White caught him, but 66 yards later.
That goes back to just playing the coverage. The corner sunk inside. They're trying to switch that thing off, and just a real bad mistake by the corner.
5 defensive backs on the field, and you still leave one running free. That's Stewart. Casillas on the tackle, a pickup of 3.
Well, as you get outside there, and the corner sits outside, and the safety's inside, they're going to switch that stuff off. Outside receiver goes inside. He didn't keep his leverage outside with the wheel route.
That's big Byron Bell. He's down, shaken up. We'll check on him. Panthers threatening to score.
Fox is sponsored by the new 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost.
So in case you've just joined us, you just missed a 66-yarder. Newton to Smith, down to the 11. Double fake. Pressure backside. He got rid of it. Polaris has it. He's going for the end zone. And down to the 4-yard line. Boy, that went from disaster to a pretty good-looking play.
Up tempo now, right back on the line of scrimmage.
Yep. A pickup of 6. They got a trips formation left. Williams. He's stacked up.
Not sure from here anyway that he made that.
Very close. Only had about a yard to go for the first. They may measure this. They will measure it.
Yeah, I think where it's sitting there, it's touching. It looks like it's touching that white line, doesn't it? It looks like he made it.
It is a first down. Coach, back to that long pass to Smith. Smith had gone out earlier in the game with cramps. I knew when he caught the ball that he was laboring.
Yeah, and you know, if anybody's ever had cramps and you got to come back and do something, you kind of do it in a very ginger fashion. So that wasn't the speed that we normally see out of Steve Smith, but he was able to make the play anyway.
Williams hit immediately. I believe he lost on that one.
And this is the same give that they had run earlier and scored with and been so effective. So they'll take a look at that and figure out how they're taking that away, and they'll come back and counter that.
Gary Williams came in for Byron Bell, playing the tackle spot. A loss of 1 on the play.
This would be so big to score here a touchdown, 2 scores like that with 10 minutes to go.
Cam. Touchdown Panthers. First rushing touchdown of the season for Newton. He tries to steal every single ball. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I don't know how. I don't have an answer for it. You know, defensive, they're adjusting so well. As soon as the defense takes something away, they come right back with a counter.
Medlock to make it 35-20. And the Saints are in trouble. A look at the scoring drive. The key play, of course, Steve Smith's 66-yard reception and run. 4 red zone touchdowns today for Carolina. They started off slow in that category.
Well, they did, but he's managing this game so well. You know, he had a couple of mistakes early in the game, but since that time, the ball's coming out quickly. He's not being risky. When he had to throw it away, he has. He's really managed this game very well.
Sproles out of the end zone. Sproles with absolutely nothing. Jordan Sin is there. And what happens when Superman scores? You got to open up your chest as well.
I want to be just like Cam.
Coach, you noted this week that Cam chews gum while he plays.
He does. It's not that unusual. I think Bruce used to do it too, but it keeps your mouth moist, I guess. I don't know why you do it. See, I'm just guessing. What do I know, you know?
Hey, if it works and the offense is clicking, here's more gum supplied by the head coach. Blitz, a hit on Breeze, incomplete. Thomas Davis came and got a shot for a game break on Arizona and New England. Let's go out to Los Angeles.
Well, Kevin Cobb channeling his inner Cam Newton, 5-yard touchdown run. Arizona leads at New England 20-9 in the 4th quarter. Patriots have never lost a home opener in 10 years at Gillette. Ryan Knight.
Thank you, Kurt. That's a big one, and a big one here in the home opener for the Carolina Panthers. Up 35-20, just under 10 minutes. The quick slant route. That's complete and an easy first down for Lance Moore.
Well, there's such a cushion out there one-on-one. Just got to be careful. He'll take that every time he can get it. He just looks out there, and it's kind of, hey, I got your eyes. Here, I'm going to throw it to you kind of a deal. And he just runs inside. It's not even a pass. It's not called in the huddle. It's just with eyes.
You're waiting. Easy. Opposite. 5-2, ready. You ready, Bishop?
A gash. Thomas, and there goes Pierre Thomas. Thomas with a monster run all the way down to the Panthers' 30-yard line before he's pushed out of bounds. 48-yard run.
Well, they were doing this earlier. They're trying to get Luke Kuechly to take on a lead, and if not him, the safety. And you have a safety down like that, you kick Luke Kuechly out, number 59. Now you're asking that safety to fill that gap.
Oh, that's monstrous. And you saw number 24, Norman, he got caught inside. You've got Contain out there. Stay outside. Force it to your help. Ingram for a few.
Well, you have it handed to the Saints, so they're staying with their game plan. They're not putting Drew at risk because of the pressures that have been able to get to him here today, and they're trying to take the heat off of him by running the ball, and they're doing it very effectively.
Both teams coming off opening day losses. The Saints snapping a streak of 9 straight home wins, losing to the Redskins last week in RG3. The Panthers lost down in Tampa Bay. Check down. Sproles. Ooh, he didn't see the backside pursuit. He got a few. Edwards coming across late. Ron Edwards. And he hit him upside the head.
Upside the head. I think he had that sternum right. It was a swan dive. That's a body imprint.
Third and 4. Just got it off, man-to-man, looking for Graham. Oh, and knocked away at the last second. Chris Gamble going step for step. And, Coach, I got to believe if you're Sean McDermott, yes, you want your corner on a guy like Jimmy Graham, a tight end.
Well, even in the thing about covering a big guy like that, even if you have that height disadvantage, the whole idea is to get the hand up there, pull his arms away, and if you don't get your arms, you get the ball. And he played that beautifully, just how you play a big man. You take one big swipe at him. That's how you do it.
And he can run step for step. This is 4th down. Timeout called by Carolina.
Their first charge timeout this half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
You know, Ron, they talked about that when we talked about the defensive coaches. How are you going to handle Jimmy like that? Just a big, big hand swipe. He's way up here. You can't play just a big old arm swipe and try to knock his arms away. And if you can't get, you may get the ball. And that's exactly what he did.
He got in that hip pocket. If this is your hip pocket, I'm not going to take your wallet, but that's where you want to be.
Anyway, don't worry about it.
It's hard to make that throw. It had to be a perfect throw, good throw, but Gamble was right there. This is the type of game we thought we would have. Division rivalry, both teams coming off losses. Nobody wants to go into week 3 without a win.
I have no question about it. And the pressure here now on 4th and 4 is, are you going to pressure these guys, or are you going to show it and get out? And I would suspect they're not going to lay in there and just let him complete this ball. I would suspect that they're going to get after him on this 4th and 4.
Still going. Lets it fly. Knocked away. Charles Johnson came around the corner and got a piece.
And Ron, that's a drill defensive ends do every day in practice. Drop that shoulder, come around and swipe at the quarterback. And if you don't get up far enough inside, he's going to get it. As you watch him come around the edge there, oh, he just got that arm in there. That's fundamentals for a defensive end in pass rush. And I used to watch Rod Marinelli do that every day when I was at Chicago. This was his favorite deal. They even have big dummies with arms on it that every team has, and they practice that.
Zach Street was a man trying to block Johnson. Byron Bell back in at the right tackle position for the Panthers. There's a handoff to Williams. Coach, so much has been said about the Saints this year, the suspensions, well chronicled. How would they handle being without their head coach, Sean Payton?
Well, that's such a difficult and tricky question. You know, you're talking about perhaps, if not the best, one of the very best play callers and offensive minds in the history of this game. So I don't care who you are. You come in there and replace him, it's not going to be the same. It just isn't. No matter how much time these guys have been together, he has a way in terms of his play selection. Now, they've done a terrific job here on offense. The opportunities are just not always there. Carolina's done a great job of keep away.
Play clock running low. Panthers trying to work on that clock. That's Williams. Williams rounded up by Will Smith. He'll be about 2 yards shy of the first. He picked up 4.
Yeah, you know, the other part of that is Colson was down last week. You know, They've got another starter down. They're just down numbers-wise wide receivers. So I really believe you're not seeing some of those shots that Drew loves on first down that come up occasionally. And they just don't have, they're just not all together yet personnel-wise. And you know, it's going to come in time. They'll get those guys back.
Third and 2 give to Tolbert. I don't think he got it.
But you know what? The pressure ultimately that they've been able to get on Drew has been the difference. And I really believe that last week Washington disrupted him enough, and it looks like they've kind of taken a page out of their game plan to some extent with that inside pressure that has really got him rattled. They've taken away those inside lanes and made him move a little bit. Now, everybody has a way of playing Drew. There's no question about it, but it's been very effective, and then they show it and they get out of it.
Casillas along with Smith on that last stop. So Carolina will work on the clock a little bit and then punt it away. Nortman getting one off, and boy, Sproles didn't feel comfortable. And as a former punt returner in this league, I understand that feeling. 49 yards on the punt, but here's the pressure on Breeze today.
And it really isn't about sacks. It's about being disruptive and getting him out of his rhythm and forcing him into being a little bit quicker or forced to do something he doesn't want to do and disrupt the timing. It is still a very time-oriented offense with his receivers, and if you can disrupt him, then it just kind of obviously disrupts the entire group.
One, two. Hey, what's on? 150. What's on?
Pump fake. Reloading too much, and that's a sack. The pressure again.
Here's the deal.
You just talked about that pressure. That's 98, Thomas Kaiser.
But one of the things he does so well, too, is pump with his head and his shoulders and then come back. And he tried to get that done. They were very disciplined in their zones. He could not get that secondary to move off their spots. That was very effective defense.
Juan Edwards involved in that sack as well. Just got it away. Sproles out close to the 25-yard line. They'll mark it at about the 23. Kaiser again with the pressure.
The hard thing for Drew is he's involved in these protections. He actually calls out where the protection's got to go to, and then he's got to make the read and the throw. Graham
will have the first down. I believe they're going to mark his forward progress. They do. And we've got a couple people injured on the play. One man gets up for Carolina, another one stays down. And that is Charles Johnson, their leading sack man last year. That's a key figure right there. We'll check on him when we come back. .345 to play, 35-20. Coach Mike Martz has talked all game long about pressure, handling pressure. How do you handle it? And Carolina has been able to get a lot of it on Drew Brees today.
Well, even with their four-man rush now, you can see more of a push than you normally see against this offensive line, which you consider to be probably the best, if not one of the best, in the league.
And that's a drop by Sproles. Carolina had Haruki Nakamura about 30 yards deep.
And he's got the role of setting these protections based on what he sees. So he tells the center and the rest of the offensive line where he wants the protection to go to. So they have brought some new things to this game, I'm sure, that he's not seen because they've been able to get through there.
We saw some of them last week. There's a throw, a catch, and a big-time hit. But Jimmy Graham holds on, showing you why last year he had the second most catches next to Gronkowski up in New England in the NFL for a tight end.
And that vertical play is their favorite. They love this play, and rightfully so. It's very difficult to cover.
Godfrey with that hit. That one through the hands.
2 drops. 2 of the last 3 passes drops.
Mike, when you were coaching, as a head coach, how many hours would you guesstimate a week you spend on protection alone?
Well, you start with protection. Everything in the pass game starts with protection. You have to make sure you got all your T's, crossed, I's dotted. Everything has got to be accounted for, and everybody has different ways of doing it. But I think Carolina, I give credit to them. They've done some things here I'm sure New Orleans has not seen.
Screen. Nice call. Sproles has blocks, and there goes Darren Sproles inside the 30-yard line. Big play when a big play was needed. Chunks of yards.
Well, again, that's why your run screens is to slow that pass rush down. The timing of that call was just excellent. They're getting to him a little bit. They're getting around his feet. The timing of that was just right.
24 yards on the pickup. Checking it down again. I got to imagine how hard it must be for quarterbacks to remain patient in a situation like this. You're down 35-20. A lot of quarterbacks would just start winging that ball away and being careless with it. But Brees has been pretty smart about it, very patient. Well, next week on Fox, a ton of NFL action. The Buccaneers at Dallas, the Lions and Titans, the 49ers off to a nice start taking on the Vikings, and the Rams taking on the Bears. And in the late games, the Falcons and Chargers and the Eagles taking on what looks to be right now the red-hot Arizona Cardinals.
Well, the other thing is the Buccaneers, they have a chance now coming out of nowhere. We saw them last week, and what they're doing right now, they've got the Giants tied up. They're for real. If anybody didn't think they were for real, they got another thing coming.
They revamped that defense, put a lot of speed on it, but right now they're in a dogfight, locked up at 27 with the New York Giants.
That ball's going to go to Jimmy Graham here on a vertical somehow, some way, and
they check it down on the screen. Sproles gets it down to about the 11.
He's going to have to start taking some shots at the scores. You're going to end up making some throws you really don't like to make, but you're just going to have to take the risk. And if you're going to do that, Jimmy Graham's the guy to throw it to, whether he's double covered or not.
Kuechly on the tackle. 2 timeouts remaining for the Saints. He's out of the pocket. Smart play. What did you say? Sometimes the best play is a throwaway play.
No question. He was quick to do that, but they really took Jimmy Graham out of there that time. They collisioned him really well. Drew looked right at him, was trying to get him the ball, and I think they'll try again to get him the ball down inside here. He's such a big target, and he adjusts so well to the ball. There's Jimmy right there, and you can see now he's removed, and they've got somebody up there going to try and get his hands on him. Disrupt that. No,
Got Colston inside. Colston has it. Colston, no sign of a score. He's down to the inch line. But I believe he got close enough for the first down. Boy, that's a shot there.
When you end up with a slot receiver with a big cushion in the red zone like that, that goes back. Just throw it to him. Just get the ball to him quickly.
Helmet to helmet, giving it up for the program, as they used to say. First down, Saints. Ball at the inch line. So big numbers across the board. And for the Saints, they have not started 0-2 since 2007. Breeze on this drive, 7 of 10, 82 yards. This is his 9th consecutive 300-yard plus passing game. He's got 316 yards passing. Jumps up. Did he get in?
Yes.
Touchdown, Saints. And he'll hand in all of those numbers for that number right there. 6 points. By rule, this year, all scoring plays are automatically reviewed. That's what the holdup is for right now.
The previous play is under review.
Coach, what do you think?
Well, I think as he got up and he got airborne, that the ball did cross the plane, but it's hard to tell from our advantage point, but it just looks like he probably did get it up over the line. I think they'll confirm that.
If it stands, it'll be the 9th career rushing touchdown for Breeze. You saw the shot there, the super slow-mo cam, just showing you the angst in the faces. All those bodies down there in that little small area fighting over a piece of pigskin and a line.
Both offenses are up over 450 yards. That's pretty incredible.
And I think the issue here is that original effort by Breeze. Was that enough to make the first down?
Yeah, when that ball gets up in the air, if it right there, that's what they had to see, and not that point. I think the original part of it where he got airborne, stuck the ball out, I think that's what they're trying to evaluate. This part, there's no question he didn't get in, but I think the original reach there where the ball got airborne is what they're looking at.
And all he has to do is puncture the plane of that goal line, and that's a touchdown. The Saints, with a 13-3 season last year, shattered just about every NFL season, single season yardage record there was. 7,474 total yards of offense. Coach, that even passed your number with the Rams, and I didn't think that number would ever be surpassed.
It did, but I think you should get some frequent flyer mileage for the team with that, don't you, with the offense? You put up those kind. Shouldn't everybody get round trips around the world or something like that? For those kinds of yards for like 10 years maybe or something? I mean, that's insane.
That might not be a bad promo. Over 400 yards of offense in 7 of the last 8. They beat Detroit in round 1 of the playoffs, then went out to San Francisco and ran into a buzzsaw.
It's such a well-conceived offense, and the details of what they do. Sean is just a real taskmaster about making sure everything's done properly and at high speed.
Ruling on the field stands. It's a touchdown.
So the crowd doesn't like it, but Saints fans love it. The 6 points count. And now the try for the extra point. It's up, it's clean. And the Saints are still in it. Well, the new AP rankings are out, and this Saturday, college football returns to Fox. First, Aaron Andrews, Eddie George, and Joey Harrington get you ready for kickoff with the Fox College Saturday pregame show. Then two unbeaten teams clash as the 15th-ranked K-State Wildcats will go to Norman to take on Oklahoma. And what looks to be a pretty darn good one. Fox's coverage of college football begins Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And boy, some upsets last night.
Ooh,
Stanford
yes.
beating up on those Trojans. That's hard for me to take. You know?
But I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm just going to lay this out there now. Fresno State battling Bulldogs. I think it's a tune of 62 points, I believe. I'm not sure.
Didn't you coach
Buffs.
up there?
That coaching played up there.
Yeah?
Former
Oh,
Tiger.
that's right.
That's a triple threat. Stumble, fumble, and fall. You got that right.
Well, some great games for us, though, here on Fox, college football-wise. Be sure and tune in and check them out. 2 timeouts apiece for each team. So now to talk about the onside kick. The hands look for the Carolina Panthers, meaning the guys with the best hands are up front.
This kick will be directed. You'd like to see kid hop, hop, and then on the third one, hit the air up here. Go just like this, squibble, 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 and then jump up in the air. That's what he's going to try and do with the kick. And in the meantime, these guys are going to come down, try and knock him out of there. And you got one guy coming down there that's going to go ahead and try and get that ball. And he's kind of the catcher, so to speak. If he kicks it deep, you got to make sure you're protecting that ball back there.
There it is. And Olsen recovers it.
They didn't get the hop, did they?
That was just a slider.
He just, just the way he kicked it, looked like he planned to do it that way. I don't know, but normally you come in at that thing and try to hit the top quadrant of the ball and make it roll and then kick up. It doesn't look like that's what he tried to do. I don't know.
That was a good 0-2 pitch in baseball when you got a guy you know can't hit, throw him that slider, put on the outside of the plate.
5-7.
So Carolina, they'll hold on here, 1:54 to play. 2 timeouts for each team. Saints got to stop them and then think about burning some timeouts. That's Will Smith on Williams.
Timeout, New Orleans.
Well, the one thing you got to keep in mind here, the quarterback is capable of showing that ball now and pulling out and running it himself, and that's extra pressure on this defense when you're trying to get the ball back. You know, usually when you're in your wind down offensive mode here, you're trying to protect the ball and get a first down. You don't have that with a quarterback, and that's the advantage they have here.
Now look at the upcoming schedule for the Carolina Panthers. They'll have the New York Giants here next at home. That's going to be a big one. And then they're back into the conference at Atlanta, and then a long trip out to Seattle before the bye. Ron Rivera was not shy about saying this week, hey, we got to get a better effort. Didn't like the effort all the way around.
Well, one thing he said, too, though, that made sense to me was they were pleased with a lot of things that happened in that game. They just didn't get themselves. There's always one guy that took them out of the opportunities.
Full house backfield on 2nd and 9. Another stop. And another timeout most likely coming from the Saints.
Timeout, New Orleans. That's their third final timeout this half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
They're done. The Saints schedule, Kansas City at home, and then a big one up in Green Bay. Remember that opening game last year?
Oh, indeed, yes. And as you look at after they come out of the bye, you know, Tampa Bay and Denver, the way they're playing right now, this is a formidable schedule. You never know when the season starts how people are going to be, but as each week comes out of here, it's scary. Some of those teams that you feel like you have match up good against, all of a sudden they've gotten pretty good.
So the Saints cannot stop the clock, but they can try to stop the Panthers on this 3rd and 7. Newton straight ahead. He'll take it down to about the 40-yard line. Out to L.A., here's Patrick O'Neal with an update.
All right, Ron, Tom Brady trying to lead the Patriots back at home versus Arizona. Touchdown to Gronkowski, so it's a 2-point game. So, yeah, you go for 2. Brady looking for Gronk again. Incomplete. So right now, 2-minute warning. Arizona with the ball and a 2-point lead. Ron and Mike.
All right, Patrick, they got a hot one going up there in New England, that's for sure. 20-18.
Similar situation. Again, an offense trying to grind that clock out and get a win.
So undoubtedly, Carolina will take the delay of game to burn some time off the clock.
Timeout, Carolina. This will be a 30-second timeout.
No, they don't take it. They call timeout instead.
Well, what happens now is you go back, and let's just say this transpires like it looks like it may, and they do lose, the Saints do lose this game, and there'll be a lot of things going on in the media, and of course with Jonathan Vilma and all these things that are happening, meeting with the commissioner this week, and you know, you got to feel for these guys. A lot of this is just the distraction, and yet they come out and put the numbers up that they did offensively. There's some problems on defense now they're just going to have to address.
Quick shot there of Pete Carmichael, the offensive coordinator. Shot of Aaron Cromer, the second interim head coach, both talking. Trying to get the plan together for Breeze coming out here next. They bring the pressure, don't get near the punt, ball into the end zone. This will be Drew Brees, 48 seconds left, no timeouts.
Well, you're looking at some chunks now. I mean chunks, 20-yard gains. You know, and the screen pass, by the way, you have to include that in this. Based on alignment, you're going to see a real soft zone coverage, and the pass rush, if they're rushing 3, it's not so good. But if they can get a 4-man rush, if they can get that going, then screens come up, and that's with Sproles. I think you're looking at that. But you got to get some chunks here and get the ball out of bounds.
8-point game, 48 seconds. You can't stop the clock. But you've got arguably the best in the business at quarterback. And what does he do? He opens up with a completion. That's Graham.
Just can't get him the sideline defensively.
Picked off. Decent. And very alertly, he gets down on the ground to leave no chance of a fumble.
Well, that's their go-to guy. And then that's a shot that you're going to have to make somewhere in that drive, and it just didn't work out. They did a fine job of playing. I just think you got to give more credit to the Carolina Panthers on both sides of the ball and the plan that they had and how well they executed it. And this is still just a phenomenal offense. There's no question about it. They got some problems on defense back there, obviously, but really, when you look at this thing, the Carolina Panthers came out, they had a plan, they stuck to it, and it worked. And they made some real nice adjustments at halftime and changed things up on both sides of the ball as well. Very impressive.
The 9th career interception for John Beeson. The Saints can't stop it, and the Panthers will just kneel on it.
Ryan Khalil. Get your t-shirt out, Ryan.
Bonus coverage coming up next, time permitting, of a good one. Up in the Meadowlands, the Buccaneers and the Giants. Will get you to that game, time permitting. But here, that's the final. The Panthers hold on 35-27 to get their first win of the season. We'll be back to wrap things up right after.